94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
I'm your host, United States Marine Corps veteran Ethan Stitch Gardner, and on today's Soldier Salute, I have medically retired and United States Marine Corps veteran John Michael Morris. Johnny, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your service. We served together in 3rd Battalion, 6th Marine Regiment. Super excited to have you back, man. Look forward to hanging out with you more often. Tell the listeners a little bit about your story.
I come from Chapin, South Carolina. Grew up in Little Mountain, went to Chapin High School. Got done with school and started going to college at Millens Tech. And didn't really think it was for me. Ended up signing up for the Marine Corps. And the story is kind of writes itself from there.
It's a good, fun story, man. You and I served on the 24th MEU, lucky number 7, the USS Iwo Jima. Good times, right?
Oh, man, yeah. What a wonderful place to be.
I don't think people realize sometimes dudes going out at sea, they're stuck in a metal box for months and months and months at a time. I think the longest stretch we had, was 90 days that we were at sea.
It was almost 4.5 months. Yeah, we were actually the second longest seaborne deployment in naval history. What
was your MOS while you were in your military occupational service?
Well, I started out as 0311 as infantryman, and then I went to recon school, failed out of that. And I ended up at 3531, motor transport operator.
You like it?
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of driving trucks and doing everybody else's bidding.
As a good old Southern boy from South Carolina, I'm sure that fit in really well with trucks and diesels and everything going like that.
Yeah. I got to wear my hat all cocked up to the top and, rock out. We were like a real-life rock star, so that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the guys, I miss the guys more than anything else.
John, thanks so much for being here again. Thanks for your service. 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines, one of the most decorated units in the Marine Corps. You and I served there together, had a great time there. I'm pretty sure that you and I met at a radical barracks party. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Oh, man. And loved being with 3-6. Loved wearing the
French Fourragère.
The French Fourragère, yes. Really did enjoy that time we spent there.
Yeah, 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines, the history from the French Fourragère is the Battle of Belleau Wood in World War I.
Yep.
The French awarded us with the French Fourragère, and the United States military allowed us to continue keeping it as a tradition. Long, long tradition. I still have the French Fourragère on my blues because I got out at 3-6. You can keep it if you get out there. You still got yours on?
Oh, yeah. I keep it on my truck, actually. I keep it in my hanging over my rearview mirror. I love to see it.
Man, good 6th Marine. Anybody that sees the Fourragère can always depict, 6th Marine guy.
Oh, yeah.
We got a 6th Marine brother. I got a lot of brothers in the club that are from 6th Marines, 1-6 and 2-6. Not as many 3-6 guys, though.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, but the Battle of Belleau Wood, that's where it all started. Do you still keep in contact with the guys from the motor pool?
Oh, yeah, man. I talk to, especially from my guys from Combat Engineering Battalion, I talk to my mechanics a lot, but the guys that we served with and we deployed with, yeah, I do talk to them pretty regularly, just checking up, seeing how their families are doing, seeing how they're doing. Once you get out, you kind of lose a lot of that, really the brotherhood. You don't get to talk to them every day. You don't get to see them because you're not working with them, I try to talk to as many people as I can, but golly, man, we get so many people that we've dealt with throughout the years, and they're all over the United States and really even over the world, I got guys still on MSG duty down in South America that I don't even know where they're actually located, try to keep up with you guys as much as possible.
I remember that dude that we served with, I think he was in Com Battalion, but he lives over in Italy. Because when we were in Italy, he met a girl, they fell in love, and he got out of the military. What is that guy's name? I can't remember his name
either.
But I know that he's still over there. He posts pictures all the time. He's having a great time, falling in love. It's crazy. Johnny, every young guy going into the military, it's always a big shocker, right? You're being taken away from your family. It's a whole new life, everything like that. You and I, we were really lucky, though. When we were stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, we were only 4 hours away from home. You're a native of Chapin, South Carolina, so I think it was only about 3.5 hour drive for us to get home. Did that help you at all transitioning into something as big as the United States Marine Corps?
First 9 months I was in California and Missouri, so I was away from home for a while. I really picked East Coast because I really wanted to be close to the house. I think it was more of a double-edged sword. It was great having my family close, but at the same time, it also cost me to drive home every weekend. So I'd put like 40,000 miles a year on my truck. But
Better to go home and spend money than spend money out in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Oh, absolutely, because that place is not good for one's soul at all.
Was it a stress reliever for you, coming home, hanging out with Dad, hanging out with old friends from high school? Was that a good mental break for you during your military service?
Yeah, I mean, seeing my mom was always a good thing, because they worry the most. Seeing Mom was good. Seeing the guys from back home, a lot of my buddies ended up joining the Marine Corps too. So, when they got stationed back over here too, we got to ride home together. And that was awesome because there's nothing like being able to share that ride, back to the house with the boys.
Nothing like being in the world's greatest fraternal organization.
That's right.
Johnny, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your service. You talked about not making it through recon school. Now, that happens, man. You know that. Everybody knows that. Recon is a hard job. Any of the Special Forces communities is a hard school.
Oh, yeah.
And you got a lot of pride from being there, from trying. There's a small percentage of people that would even ever try. Tell us, the listeners, a little bit about something that they could expect going through Special Forces in Doc.
Out of 66 Marines that I went to infantry school with, 4 of us made it. Yeah, it was hardcore, to say the least. But, even the guys that made it through, you look at them you hold an utmost respect, and that's with anybody you deal with, MARSOC, JSOC, Navy SEALs, anybody in those commands, they're a step above and beyond. And regardless of, making it, not making it, I'll always have respect for people who want to go out there and put their best foot forward. It does suck. It really does, not making it, but that's a majority. And that's the reality of it, is that's the majority of the people that go through that. And that's who you don't see, is the guys that don't make it.
What was the defining factor there? Like, what's the thing that you would want to tell everybody, hey, you might want to be good at this before you go?
You need to be strong mentally. But being physically fit is obviously a prerequisite. Being extremely mentally strong and knowing that nothing can break you is the defining factor in any of those communities, as far as I'm concerned.
Johnny, you and I both served in the Marine Corps together. We are a part of what the Marine Corps would call the Peacetime Marine Corps. Oh, yeah. Now, there's 2 types of Marine Corps. There's Peacetime Marine Corps and Wartime Marine Corps.
Yep.
You and I both know friends that have been through Wartime Marine Corps, and obviously, like I said, you and I have been through Peacetime.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the differences and how drastically different they are.
Oh, man. I guess the biggest difference would just be mentality. As far as when we came in, we were still deploying, and that was the mindset. You get in, you train, you deploy, you come back, you train, you deploy, whatever. Well, now in this Peacetime Marine Corps, you come in and you're expected to have everything ship-shape. Your wall locker, perfect. You're training, and to no end, We were fortunate enough to get to deploy, and even regardless of being a combat deployment or not, you don't get to experience a lot of the same things that the people that you look up to experience. So you don't get to relate to them on certain things. And that kind of breaks your heart as a Marine, because you're in there to do exactly what they've done. Yeah. But, that's all time. Time correlates. You don't get those opportunities. And I will say that I did change a lot of what I thought the Marine Corps was going to be about after seeing where we were at, because it was a lot different than what I thought I was going to sign up for. I think more things are goal-oriented rather than mission-oriented, which is a shame, because, this should be mission accomplishment. I
think that leadership in Peacetime Marine Corps looks kind of, without bad-mouthing any higher-ranking leaders in the Marine Corps, I think they look a little bit more for their own career, making sure that their Marines aren't going out getting in trouble, doing wall locker inspections, health and comforts, 100%. Checking your uniforms, all the mundane crap that nobody in the Marine Corps wants to do. Exactly. I'd tell you 100 times over, I would rather be out in the field digging a fighting hole and training, getting good quality training, than being back at the barracks getting ready for that 3rd uniform inspection of the month.
100%. There's something about those times that you spend in the field, or you spend out, in the dirt, in the suck, doing just the most remedial stuff ever, but you're going to use that in combat. You're going to use that out there in the world. Nobody's ever going to come look at my wall locker when I get home. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to come into my closet and say, oh, you have 2 Bravo shirts and not 3? Where are your service stripes at? Sergeant, I've only been in for 2.5 years, so,
I don't have one.
Yeah, so, I really wish that it wasn't geared towards that, but at the same time, I understand attention to detail. I understand them wanting you to be geared towards not getting in trouble, yada, 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 but it's different.
The old saying, right? Every Marine is a rifleman. It's in my opinion, it's kind of true. You can read citations for valor from dudes that are cooks, that are comm guys. In the heat of battle, it can become a reality. And I think it kind of sucks during peacetime Marine Corps that you go through the hardest boot camp of all time, the hardest basic training on the planet.
Yes.
Then you go through your job school and everything like this, and you are a honed fighting machine, a highly trained individual in your craft, and you just don't get to do that.
No, and you really don't even get to shoot as much as you like. We're not even allowed to have guns on base. You got to sign them in and out with the armory if you live in the barracks. Which is, that's not very warrior-like. At the same time, we've all seen, bad as it gets and as bad as people's mental states gets. Things happen. Yeah. But as far as every Marine or rifleman, I'd say that a large majority of them are. You got guys that they came in to be supply, and they're going to be supply, and that's all they care about. They don't want to go to the range. They don't want to go into the field. Yeah. I get that. As a culture and as Spartan-like, society, the Marines they're awesome.
We had a sergeant. I don't remember if you remember him. He was a cook at our unit, and he was a sergeant, real quiet guy. I can't remember his name, but I would always pick on, just make fun of him a little bit, cook, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we had a uniform inspection. They were so much fun. And I looked at his uniform, and he had a bronze star with a V.
Oh my God!
And I said, "What the heck?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was a cook. I was out there, did some stuff." I was like, wow. So I know there's a lot of people listening right now that would be like, that is a total lie. Every Marine is not a rifleman.
Yeah.
I beg you to go talk to that cook that I found with a bronze star with a V.
Oh yeah, some of the most hardcore dudes I've ever met were dudes that had nothing to do with being infantry MOSs. But don't get me wrong, the infantry does their job and they do it very, very well.
Johnny, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your service, bro. Served together in 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines with you. Great to see you again. In our pre-interview, we talked about the lack of overall patriotism and camaraderie that we're dealing with right now in the United States. A lot of political stuff going on out there. It hurts sometimes. I had Ronnie Stewart on a couple weeks ago, and we talked about how he wished that everybody would live like it was September 12th, 2001, when we were all united and we were all together in that tragedy. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Thank you for your service as well. I'll never forget September 11th, 2001. I'll never forget coming home and seeing my parents and my brother cry and wanting to do something for this country, for everybody, everyday people. We had something back then that we just don't see anymore. We don't have that camaraderie. We don't have people going out and helping their neighbor. We've had a couple tragedies since 9/11, and they've been natural disasters and stuff. Like there's a hurricane that hit Houston 2 years ago. Me and a buddy of mine packed up a trailer full of goods that were donated from churches, and we drove all the way out there and gave aid. And there was a lot of people that were doing the same thing, and that's awesome. But why can't we do that every day? Why can't we have people who remember, what it felt like to be attacked as a country and to be targeted for being a center, a melting pot of different religions, different beliefs, the freedoms to do such, the freedoms to protect yourselves from tyranny. Those are lost and they fall on deaf ears. And that breaks my heart as somebody who really, loves, supports, and defends the Constitution and that doesn't forget their oath to this country. What are we doing? Where did we lose that sense of patriotism? And it just breaks your heart, truly.
That day, I always love to say it didn't matter color, whether you're poor, what religion you were, it didn't matter. Your neighbor that hated you so much the day before would have walked out and embraced you as family because we all were suffering from that tragedy together. Everybody was worried. Everybody was scared. Everybody was angry. And it sucks so much that something so tragic, so terrible would have to happen in this country to bring all 350 million of us together for a short period of time. And I hope, just as you, that maybe we can find that again, not through a huge tragedy, but just from uniting as people that believe that you have your own opinion, you're open to have your own opinion. That's the freedom of free speech that we have in this country.
Amen.
I'm here with John Michael Morris in the studio. We're going to be talking a little bit about the VA. So, Johnny, you've got a little bit more back problems, a little bit more pain issues than I do. You're medically retired for an incident. I've got a little bit of issues, like small stuff, though. You know, the VA in general takes pretty good care of me. Something that I've found, I think that the VA does a great job of taking care of the vets that don't necessarily need it.
Yeah, and that's such a crazy thing to think about. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, well, they don't want to help themselves, or they're not willing to go out and reach out. Well, you know what? I got out, and the day I got out, I drove straight to the VA. I told them, hey, I was getting out. I'm looking to get care. I didn't hear from anybody for 6 months, and that wasn't even the VA that reached out to me. That was the Marine Corps, and they basically told me that I was going to be receiving VA pay and not retirement pay at the time, because I was on TDRL and still am waiting for that to come to fruition and everything. Guys that have serious issues sometimes are really not liable to go out and seek help, because as Marines, we're trained to be hard people, hard mentally and physically. When you get out, it's like you have this huge support system, the Marines, and then you get out and there's nobody there. How do you transition? How do you go from being that hard charging dude to being somebody that doesn't have a support system? It's hard, and it's hard for me, and I'm still dealing with it. I'm still trying to get in, get seen, get, physical therapy, get medication, or whatever the route, the plan of attack may be, just to get a quality of life that's worth staying and being active and being proactive. It's hard.
Tell the listeners about the incident that you had to deal with where the VA was trying to send you to Anderson, even though you lived in Irmo.
Yeah, so I recently moved from Clemson back here to my home in Irmo, and I had all my paperwork straight. Everything was good to go. I had a new doctor, new medical team. I'm on red team down here at the VA, at Dorn. And I set this appointment up, and I get a letter in the mail that says, hey, you need to go to Anderson tomorrow. Like, no. There's just no way. There's no way I can do that. And so I call down here, and I need to get labs before I can go do my preliminary checkup with my doctor. So you can walk in here. Nobody told me that. I had no idea that you could just walk in and get labs done with your, ID. Like, nobody just, hey, you can do this. So, it's hard being, especially as a young guy getting out, somebody who hasn't been around the block, doesn't really know the ins and outs of the VA or even the military as much so as, somebody who's done 16 or, retired out, done their time. It's hard.
Without getting too political into it, what's your opinion about privatizing the VA? Because any government-run agency, you made a comment about, I don't believe in conspiracy theories because the VA can't even help me, so they can't even get 15 people together and help them. So without getting too deep into it, what's your opinion on privatizing the VA?
Why not? Give it a shot. I mean, we see corporations and companies go under, but we also see some that flourish, that grow exponentially. So, I understand that those funds have to come from somewhere, and they are tax funded. Maybe it would be kind of hard to do that in a way, but why not give it a shot? Have some kind of trial period, Our president now, he has done a lot of things good for veterans. Even when we were still in, we got a raise and stuff. That was the biggest that we've ever seen since 1775, which is wild. But why not give it a shot and see what the American public has to offer for our veterans rather than our government? They got enough going on, Why not at least give it a shot?
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pig's Barbecue, serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. And Palmetto State Armory, American made for life. And Franklin Equipment, rent, buy, rely. And Atkins Law Firm Workers' Comp Attorneys, who you hire matters.